Well, welcome back to Frisco. And Andy Herzog is not hanging around. He has made a switch at half-time. Jerome Kiesewetter is going to be on right at the start of the second half. He replaces Paul Aliola. Ali, you sensed he was trying to make a decision between those two players as to which one would start.
And not a surprise that he's coming in. You need a spark. You need some creativity out of the midfield. You need width. You need ability on one-on-one situations, and that's all that Kiesewetter gives you. Gives you that energy. The team has to pick up the level of possession, and then once you have that possession, you got to commit numbers forward. You got to take a chance.
Well, those of you who watched the full national team friendlies in January will remember that Kiesewetter came off the bench for the national team and really lit a spark late on in that debut of his against Iceland. Actually helped the team come back from a 2-1 deficit to win 3-2. Change for Colombia, meanwhile, is the one we anticipated with Christian Borja coming on, the defender. It's Preciado who has made way. We saw him struggling with the hamstring right at the tail end of the first half. Interesting move, though, isn't it? Borja, a left back or a left midfielder, so an attacker off for Colombia.
Well, it seems as if Juan Fernando Quintero is going to run alongside Roger Martinez as the two strikers. Borja will go on the left-hand side of midfield, and they'll still maintain their 4-4-2 shape.
Can the US turn this around? Can they change the dynamic? Well, Kellen Acosta getting things off on the right footing with some fancy footwork, and in fact, not too fancy for the Colombian defenders. He was upended. And we'll give the US the first free kick of the second half.
A little bit of filth here by Kellen Acosta. Oops. All right, see ya. Liberton Palacios gets back into the play, the foul. And if you haven't created enough opportunities on set pieces is where you have to take advantage. Need a good service here by Hyman.
Emerson Hyman, the man with all the Dallas connections, swinging that in. And I guess that wasn't what you were calling for, Alec.
Well, he's not listening to me. Nobody does.
Hyman seeing that free kick sail away on the wind. Senior team call up for him as well just after the World Cup in September of 2014. He played in a win in the Czech Republic, hasn't played since for Jürgen Klinsmann and the full national team. Bonilla getting things away for the visitors. Here's the goal scorer, Martinez. See all the tarp covering away to our right. You got a glimpse of them there, the blue coverings. It's to do with the forthcoming construction work here at Toyota Stadium. This is going to be the future home of the US National Soccer Hall of Fame. Building work to get underway shortly. Hyman drawing some oohs and ahs with that silky move. Here's Will Trapp. Encouraging start to the second half, at least positionally for the US. Hyman has overdone it just a tad again. The wind may be playing havoc with his deliveries.
And while I appreciate the look by Hyman on the overlapping run by Kiesewetter, there's a simple pass, 5-yard pass right in front of him to Will Trapp, who has time and space in front of him so that he can step forward and be the one that takes a shot on goal.
Andy Herzog with so much familiarity with two-legged situations. His 18-year playing career involved many such occasions. Remembering 20 years ago exactly that he won a UEFA Cup alongside Jürgen Klinsmann with Bayern Munich. Martinez shrugging off the first challenge. Sanchez to Celis, is Quintero. The shot from distance, and Horvath knew it was coming, was backpedaling furiously, was able to adjust. All solid goalkeeping from Ethan Horvath, who moved to Norway at a tender age of 17 after growing up in Denver. His parents moved with him too for the first couple of years. And firmly established as the number one there now. Here's Acosta surveying the scene. A bad looking delivery, and it was awkward for the Colombia defenders. They're struggling with the wind too, which is clearly blowing in the direction of Bonilla's goal. Acosta taking the extra touch and getting the decision. Constantly involved, isn't he, Kellen Acosta?
But even 4 minutes in is so much better than what he was throughout the course of the first half of the United States. Completing 3 and 4 passes allows you to have numbers in the attack and join forward, and now you have yet another set-piece opportunity.
Can they get the equation right this time from the dead ball situation? Plenty of heavy artillery for Emerson Hyman to try and connect with. Keeps it lower into a crouch. Matt Miazga trying to pick up the pieces. Will trap, dispossessed. The break might be on here for Martinez. Kellen Acosta couldn't haul him in. Quintero with the cut inside. Quintero looking to get a shot away. Finds Martinez dancing his way through. Parker refusing to yield, and it was a great challenge from Tim Parker. A potentially goal-saving challenge from Tim Parker as Martinez was about to pull the trigger. And Parker appears to have picked up a yellow card in the aftermath of that. Was there something off the ball there with Borja, the substitute? He's being spoken to by referee Irmatov.
And after the turnover by Will Trapp, everybody's challenging, trying to get back, trying to defend in numbers. Roger Martinez anticipating a contact that doesn't exist. Tim Parker strong. And at this point, it's unnecessary for him to give a foul. Borja is going nowhere, and he should have been red carded.
Yeah, that was a stamp, wasn't it?
That's it. There's no question for that. And the referee saw it. Otherwise, he doesn't give the yellow.
Well, that's twice tonight, you have to say. Ravshan Irmatov used discretion, where perhaps many referees wouldn't. The US players...
It's an unnecessary foul to begin with, Adrian. Borja is going towards the corner. He's got no way out unless you give him an outlet.
In comes the free kick. And the US able to escape. And we saw an early studs-up challenge, didn't we, by the US, resulting in just a yellow card. And Tim Parker almost spoiling what had been great work prior to that as well, denying Martinez any room to get the shot away. Goes without saying, at 1-0 the situation is manageable. For the US at 2-0, it becomes a lot more severe. Remember, the United States, if they were to concede another, would then need 3. At the moment, both teams have the one away goal. The US looking for a home equaliser here. In comes the cross. Rodriguez unable to pick up the pieces. On the overlapping run goes Elibelton Palacios here for Colombia, but Parker is the shelter in the storm, isn't he? He's a one-man wrecking crew at the back for the US.
Once again, overlapping run by Elibelton Palacios and Tim Parker with the good work defensively. We've seen it all night long. Question is whether he should still be on the field.
Well, he's had to wait a long time to get on the field again for the US, Tim Parker. He played for the U-18 side back in 2011, then had a 5-year wait before getting a national team call-up again.
It's good defended by Tim Parker, and we saw this in Barranquilla. We've seen it here tonight. He's been the best defender for this United States team.
Also a man with CONCACAF Champions League experience with the Vancouver Whitecaps. He had to go down to Honduras and play. Here's his fellow central defender, Matt Miazga. Miazga 3 years ago was signing a letter of intent to go play collegiately for Michigan. He never took that chance, went to the Red Bulls instead, and just a few months ago signed the big deal with Chelsea. Here's Polster. Acosta arriving. Polster was caught late. Acosta trying to rekindle the attack here. Acosta staying lively and available, but again another one of those through balls that just skips away, wind assisted perhaps. Here's the stamp from Tim Parker. Another look at it. Should he still be on the field after that?
No. The answer is no. The play is over. He knows what he's doing, and that it's textbook. I don't know how you see it, Adrian, but there's no other way to explain it other than he's stepping on the player.
Well, it clearly could have been avoided, couldn't it? Tim Parker was frustrated after the initial collision with Roger Martinez. I think he felt Martinez had made the most of it. Here's Rodriguez, meanwhile.
Once the play is over and he goes to step over the player, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Good looking ball, a sharp ball from Hyman. Hyman available again for the drag back, but again the Colombian challengers arriving before the US can take advantage of the situation. Martinez on a long solo run. Tim Parker putting an end to that.
I would tell you, I said a couple of minutes ago and I'll say it again. Regardless of what we just showed on the replay, this guy has been the best defender the United States has had.
Yeah, really, yeah. Led the line that defensive effort on Friday. That's a good looking ball over the top. Oh, it's a defensive header! And the US have been given a gift, an own goal from Colombia. And it is all level. And the Rio dreams are all of a sudden back on.
We've talked about the win and this ball over the top by Hyman. He's been long on this ball. And David Machado misjudges the flight of the ball. He's trying to clear it. He gets caught in between. Doesn't clear. Bonilla was coming out for the cross initially. He's now tracking back. And the wind takes the ball right over the top of Bonilla. And wouldn't you know it, 1-1, we have a ball game.
Well, the wind taketh away and the wind giveth as well. That was clearly Machado caught out. The blustery ball over the top. And the US have the spark that they have been seeking. Catastrophe for Colombia, though. A self-inflicted wound. And it is 1-1 on the night, 2-2 on aggregates.
Well, what it is fortunate for the United States, they've been a little bit more direct in the second half. They've been a little bit more looking for chances going forward, and the possession in the final third, and a little bit more direct, putting balls into a dangerous area, and you never know what can happen. You give yourself a chance, and, well, David Machado said, you know what? Let's make it closer than it really is.
Free kick comes in from Colombia. This, of course, the only scoreline after 90 minutes here in Frisco that could give us extra time to decide this contest. It's winner-take-all playoffs for the last remaining place at the Olympics. Here come Colombia again, though, threatening. What an important intervention that was beyond the far post. That was DeSavio Payne, who may just have saved the United States, being in the right place at the right time.
We showed it in the starting lineup. We've talked about it throughout the course of the game. We showed it in the goal by Colombia. Palacios down the right-hand side. Always an outlet on the overlapping run for Colombia.
Having hauled themselves level, can the US ride out this wave of Colombian retribution? Here's Quintero down the seam, down the middle, and Miazga able to do just enough.
By Colombia, good hold of play by Roa, who's tucked inside, and Palacios on the outside trying to find that run in the far post. By Borja doesn't quite get there. Good clearance by Payne.
Right place, right time for the right back. Here's Roa now. Martinez, so Quintero a little short. He was forced to lunge in. Jordan Morris on the run. That's Minya going with it. And that is going to be the last contribution of the night for Jordan Morris, because Herzog is going to change things up front and bring on Kyrie Shelton, an NYCFC man. Shelton also a part of the senior national team camp in January. Didn't play in either of those friendlies. A man with local connections. Went to high school just outside of Austin. He's rather enjoyed the arrival of Patrick Vieira at NYCFC. Got a goal on opening day for his MLS club.
And a big body, some pace, ability to try to get in behind, trying to stretch Colombia. Not the brightest night for Jordan Morris playing up top.
Plenty of weapons now, the US, with Kizaveta, Rodriguez, Shelton. And trying to feed them all, perhaps. And now the Colombian crowd responding. Shot was on there for a moment for Roa. He checked out of it. Rodriguez giving Shelton his first contribution to the game, but Minya has been the equivalent of Tim Parker, isn't he, for the US? He has snuffed out so many things before they really developed.
That's a big boy defender right there, Jerry Mina. All the attributes of a player who may just make the big jump in Europe at some point.
One of these Colombian guys with big game experience. He won the Copa Sudamericana with Independiente. This is Martinez! It's 2-1 Colombia! The US defense melting away. It's Martinez at the double. And he may just have propelled the Colombians towards Rio.
Little switch over the top. Miss hit, but gets there in the end by David Machados, and Tim Parker, who's been so good over the two games, doesn't read the touch by Martinez. Martinez opens up his body on the turn, and then this is just beautiful. Once he takes that touch and creates that space, it's all about then finding the back of the net. It's a great finish by Roger Martinez, who's been active throughout the course of the night and created all sorts of problems for the United States defensively.
Deadly work inside the penalty area. You said it, Ali. The touch was a treat. It fooled Tim Parker. Not much has fooled him tonight. And Martinez slotting it home so efficiently, and now it is a daunting prospect, to say the least, for the United States. It's Colombia who have not only the aggregate lead, but the away goals advantage too. The US know they now need to score twice. Here's the man of the moment. Quintero. Stepping in there is Celis. May provide a launch pad for the Colombian attack. Quintero on the brakes.
It's one of those sequences that we've talked about, that Colombia's in advantageous position. Celis is pushing number forward. Borja has made a run inside. Now there are runs in behind, and instead of trying to push forward and be more direct, Colombia decides to find Quintero once again so that they can now reset the attack again. The break was there, Colombia just didn't take advantage of it.
The hopes seemingly drifting away in the wind here. It's going to be the third and final change very shortly for Andy Herzog. He's not going to hang around. Luis Gil is standing by. Well overhit this time from Tim Parker. Here is the change. It's going to be DeSavio Payne, the right back, who makes way. So it's all or nothing now. Luis Gil, the first leg goal scorer down in Barranquilla, comes on as the US will perhaps go to just 3 at the back. They have all their main attacking weapons out there. Who recently made the move away from MLS to Liga MX. He was with Querétaro.
You said it, Adrian. United States going to a back 3 with Polster and Trapp in front of that back 3, and then allowing the playmakers in front of them with Luis Gil, Kyrie Shelton, Kizaveta, as well as Mario Rodriguez down the left-hand side.
Here in Frisco, Texas. The US trying to battle our way back again. So glad you could be with us here. Adrian Healy, Alejandro Moreno. As we enter the final quarter of the game. This is how we got here. Colombia breaking through midway through the first half through Martinez. And at the same end, the own goal, Ali.
And you just felt like maybe the United States were going to get back into this, but this touch by Roger Martinez, just next level. The ability to open up his body on the turn and then finding that far post was a great goal.
Simply delicious, wasn't it, from Martinez?
Sometimes Colombia is their worst enemy in the attack when they try to be too intricate and too elaborate with their passing. The goal comes from a switch over the top, first time ball into the box, allowing then your attacking players to be dynamic, to win the space, and Roger Martinez to show us something a little bit special.
Remember, the 16th and final place at the Summer Olympics in Brazil is the prize, the last chance offered in this qualifying playoff. Quintero's service dealt with initially. Time is increasingly rapidly becoming the enemy for the US. They need 2 goals. with one. Kiesewetter and Shelton get things started. Kiesewetter is blisteringly fast. We haven't really seen that yet since his introduction. The golden boot in the qualifying tournament. Jerome Kiesewetter, 4 goals, 2 assists back in October. Despite that, US fell just short, finishing 3rd place, losing to Honduras. Yes, this playoff against this much fancied Colombian side. Showing his frustration. And Polster doing well to win it back. Hyndman taking over. This is Mario Rodriguez. Step over wasn't brought at all by Palacios. Does win a corner though.
Matt Polster on the ground, grabbing his hamstring.
Remember, Andy Herzog has used all 3 of his substitutions already, so they will be hoping and praying that it's no more than cramp. No sign of the magic spray coming out. Polster waving off the stretcher. He wants no part of that. While we have a moment, ESPN Soccer doubleheader coming away on April the 10th. Will be the same opponents for the US women's national team at a sold-out Talon Energy Stadium in Chester, Pennsylvania. Then right after that, 4 p.m. MLS Western Conference matchup, the Houston Dynamo against the Seattle Sounders in Houston. Both games on ESPN. It's an encouraging sign, at least.
He was grabbing the hamstring, the quadriceps, the adductor, everything.
And the water bowl. Meanwhile, it's Luis Gil to set the table here for the US. Bonilla didn't really get there. The shot was on. Rodriguez into a crowd. Gil keeping it low. Back to Rodriguez. He lost his bearings momentarily. Good delivery from Gil. There was a big call, wasn't it, from Andy Herzog not to play Gil from the start. Go to full game in Barranquilla in the heat on Friday, midway through the second half, and now he has a welcome to the game booking as well. And the card count rising for the US.
Luis Gil gave the old fake chest pass to Elivelton Palacios. The referee didn't like it. Yellow card.
You can see the Colombian defenders looking that comfortable with the ball swirling in the air in their own penalty area. Tim Parker doing a good job winning it back. Costa taking over here. Signs of life from the United States. They are on life support. There's another free kick. Needlessly conceded, really, by Palacios. They've taken this quickly, Gil. Now Acosta leaving a foot in.
Little kick out. I'm gonna throw the ball at you. No, I'm not. Yellow card. And as Palacios trying to clear the ball, Acosta's late to the challenge. This is where Colombia, they have to be very intelligent about how they handle the rest of the game. They have controlled the possession. They have controlled the pace of the game. If they make this into a fight, then you allow the United States to get back into it. Now, if you knock the ball around and force the United States to chase with a player like Matt Polster, who's struggling physically, and other players on the field that don't really like to chase defensively, then you give yourself a chance of closing this out comfortably.
Hurtling towards the final quarter of an hour here. The realization remains the United States need 2 goals to keep their summer in Brazil alive. So far, statisticians tell us, Ali, that over both legs, they still only have 1 shot on goal. It's a score from an own goal here tonight. So where are those shots on goal going to come from that they need so desperately? Rodriguez, nicely done, Gill. The will trap, good looking service, still up for grabs. Shelton underneath it, it wouldn't fall for Gill. He already had his finger on the trigger, but the bullet was taken out of the chamber. And now Celis is upended. The electric looking Harry Shelton.
I'm sure by now the United States have figured out that Colombia is struggling with the wind and dealing with the crosses, and at this point, with 15 minutes to go and needing 2 goals, you might as well just start putting balls into the box, put pressure into Colombia. They couldn't defend in that first goal. It caused a mistake from Machado, maybe caused a mistake from somebody else.
They want the ball at the feet of Emerson Hyman and Lewis Gill, don't they? And see what they can do with their deliveries. Another stoppage here. As Martinez was caught by that poster.
They do extensive zone contact.
The physical nature of the counter continues, and then some with Lewis Gill, who's already been booked, and the referee is reaching for his pocket. Is going to be a different colour, and Gill is gone, and with it may go the United States' last hopes. Well, it's been bubbling under, hasn't it? Right from the word go here tonight, Ali. Not sure what Lewis Gill actually did wrong there. He applauds American Outlaws on his way off, but you might say the US got the benefit of the doubt on a couple of occasions from Ravshan Ermatov. But the indication we had from that replay, Ali, was that perhaps Lewis Gill was rather hard done by.
Maybe so, but he puts himself in a situation where the whistle has blown and now we're throwing elbows and arms are flying everywhere. It seems like Wilmar Barrios exaggerates, embellishes, sells it to the referee buys it. Now a player that had come in to make a difference offensively gets himself thrown out within 10 minutes.
That's the other part of the game, isn't it? And Colombia have played that other game perfectly here tonight, Ali. They've drawn the US into the physical battle. The US have not been able to keep their cool.
Which is also, by the way, it's also part of the game. Some people hate it, but it is part of the game. And you got to live in the fringes of legality at times when you play the game of soccer. There are a lot of gray areas in soccer.
Yeah. People want it to be black and white, but it is not.
No, it's a lot of gray areas, and the people that are able to handle those gray areas better, usually, not only are they able to get away with it, but they find results.
This has been a textbook case of that from Colombia here tonight.
it's also the difference between a team that has players that are participating in Copa Libertadores, an international competition, and they're doing that consistently, and they know the ins and outs of games like this and two-legged series and all that stuff, while other players, in this case from the United States, they can't get a game in their club teams. They're not participating and playing consistently.
And sure, the Colombians have fanned the flames, haven't they, with some of this sort of play acting, perhaps.
Look, you're talking to the wrong guy when it comes to this stuff, because I will defend perhaps not all of the behavior, but you're trying to close out a match. You're trying to go to Rio. If you want to take the momentum away from the United States, this is what you're going to do. You're going to take your time on the ground. You're going to take the air out of the ball. And people don't like it, but it's the way that you get results.
I think many people would call it street smarts.
Well,
certainly in South American soccer. It's European soccer that'll be dominating our screens this summer. Euro 2016 beginning June the 10th on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. Every game from France live, culminating with a champion being crowned in Paris on July the 10th. Every game also streaming live on the Watch, ESPN and the ESPN app. US down a goal here, down a man. Not quite down and out, but very much on there appears to be life support as Colombia ready another change. The man who made way right at the midway point of the first half in the first leg, Jose Uyudo, who comes on. Those wearing yellow, and there are plenty of them here in Toyota Park tonight. And beaming. Here's Heinlein. Isabella's cross, up it goes into the air. Bonilla struggling to get there. The header is on for Acosta, and he put it wide. That was just what you were talking about, Ali. Get the ball in the box, get it up in the air, and this was a presentable chance.
It's not even a good cross, but it makes Bonilla come out. It makes Sanchez having to challenge. It makes Mina uncomfortable defensively. And on the rebound, now you have an opportunity, perhaps an opportunity you haven't had throughout the course of the night. Look, 10 minutes to go. Put it in the box. Hope for some rebounds. Get on the end of the second balls, and perhaps you get yourself a second goal and give yourself a chance.
Ellen Acosta with a glorious opportunity there to bring his hometown crowd back into it. US American Outlaws, all the fans trying to lift their side here. The final push, remember they need 2 goals. Colombia sitting very pretty at the moment. Kiesewetter. He grew up in Berlin alongside John Brooks. 2 of them as 12-year-olds were in the fan zone in Berlin back at the World Cup in 2006, watching the United States.
People are going Wilmar Barrios. What people haven't seen is the fact that he was treated for a cut in his face.
Back on to aid the defensive effort. Now the breakout could be on here. The United States stretched defensively, Polster providing the cover. The ball across the face of goal. And just agonizingly out of his reach.
This is just a beautiful ball from Juan Fernando Quintero, looking for the run by Celis down the middle.
It's a long, lung-busting run from Celis, wasn't it?
Guillermo Celis, who has provided some stability defensively in the midfield and allow Barrios to get forward at times and allow Roa to concentrate on the attacking part of the game rather than defending.
And the playmaker will be withdrawn as Carlos Restrepo is going to make another change. Going to be Alan Pereira who comes on. Quintero leaving the captain's armband, with goalkeeper Christian Bonilla on his way off. His full national team pedigree really came to the fore over the two legs. The man who's scored at a World Cup in Brazil may well have the chance to do so again at the Olympic Games in the same country.
There's been two important games for Juan Quintero. Criticized sometimes in Colombia because he doesn't get the playing time that he should at Rennes. Some people think of him and maybe he was given too much too early. He comes in, plays well over the two legs. Was really the reference point for Colombia in the attack.
The United States staring at the abyss right now. The prospects of missing the Olympic Games again. It will be the third time in the last 4 Olympics they have not been a part of the summer festivities. They missed out in 2004 in Athens. They were there in Beijing. Peter Novak missed again in 2012 in London. Heartbreak for Caleb Porter's squad 4 years ago. Martinez looking very comfortable indeed. Roll up. It was Salis who was forward in support. Just the ability of Carlos Restrepo to call that man in, from the full national team squad. Luxury Andy Herzog didn't have. This is Palacios getting to the byline. There were some thoughts that maybe John Brooks might have been involved in this series. So too DeAndre Yedlin. They were both age eligible. Brooks' injury kept him out of the picture. Yedlin was kept with the full national team.
Well, after the result at Guatemala, then all hands on deck when it came to the full national team, and it forces the hand of, if there were any thought of DeAndre Yedlin coming over this way, it forces the hand of Jurgen Klinsmann to say, you know what, we got to keep him here.
Would things have been any different with those two on board? Rubio Rubin was another who Andy Herzog would have liked to have had available.
You like to think that the situation might have been different, but you can also make the argument that Colombia has players that are currently with the full national team that could have been here as well, such as the case of Marlos Moreno. Guillermo Celis eventually came.
Emerson Hyman will to launch one into the penalty area again, perhaps spark some late hope here for the US. Hyman's delivery went all the way through. Parker unable to control his header. Awkward bounce for Tim Parker.
Again, Colombia uncomfortable defending set pieces and balls into the box, but it's just an uncomfortable opportunity for Tim Parker, who can't quite get enough on the header.
He is one of the few for whom you can say their stock has risen over the course of these 2 games. He rose there to meet the challenge. He got an elbow in the face for his troubles. Another booking.
And just the same way that I said that Tim Parker should have been thrown out of the game with his thumb, Wilmer Barrios throws an elbow and he knows exactly what he's doing.
It's the 10th yellow card. It's been a fractious affair at times. 5 apiece. Of course, the red card as well for Louis Skill.
You see it. He's leading with the elbow. He takes a peek. I could see it from up here. I know another one. I see one, Agent.
How many percent attempt was that to win the ball? I'd say 0 as the US carved out an opportunity. I don't think he was even looking at the ball there, Alec.
Nope. But if the United States goes on and doesn't qualify to Rio, it's difficult to look at this two-legged series and think that this is the disappointment. The disappointment is losing to Honduras.
Yes, absolutely. That's where the damage was done.
Yeah, and this was always going to be a challenging task. And it goes to then the idea that if you're the United States and you're one of the main teams in CONCACAF, you should be qualifying to every tournament there is to qualify. And not qualifying to the Olympics, it's a failure.
Well, Colombia could apply the final dagger here. It's another decision for the referee and another red card. Well, it's turning into a nightmarish evening for Andy Herzog's side. It's Matt Miazga who hauled down his man. The US coach is fuming. His team are on their way out.
He's grabbing Borja, trips over Borja, and then at this point Borja decides that he's going to sell the call. Last man defending, Matt Miazga, who has had 2 difficult games. It was his missed clearance in Barranquilla that then forced Kelly Acosta into an awful decision and take down Santos Borre. Now he gets a red card.
Miazga's hopes of Olympic glory this summer are dashed. He departs the scene, heading back to West London to try and resume his quest to forge a career with Chelsea. Yuri Gonzalez is going to come on as a late substitution here for Andres Felipe Aroa. Looked lively throughout again tonight. Free kick for Colombia. They're with it. A little teaser, and Horvath is alive. Pereira was scheming there. Down a goal and down 2 men. US deep into stoppage time. Missing out again, it appears. Comes to the Summer Olympics, Mexico and Honduras. The CONCACAF representatives. Colombia will be joining the host nation Brazil and Argentina. Denmark, Germany, Sweden and Portugal will be the 4 European teams. Fiji, the representatives from Oceania.
With the amount of resources and infrastructure and organization and money spent on the development of players in the United States and by the U.S. Soccer Federation, you cannot look at a list of CONCACAF qualifying teams to the Olympics and be Mexico and Honduras. The United States should be on that list, and it is a referendum on U.S. soccer and the development of players. We're talking about the future generation of U.S. soccer players, the players that are supposed to take over as we go on in international competition. Well, they have to be better. Simple as that.
Remember, in Mexico, you're talking about the defending champions as well. They won gold in London 4 years ago. They're trying to defend that title. In Brazil, the host nation have never won Olympic gold. The US, the grim prospect of missing out for the 3rd time in the last 4 Olympics. The best ever performance in modern times was all the way back in 2000, the Sydney Olympic Games. The side led by Landon Donovan and Josh Wolf and Ben Olsen finished 4th. That was under Clive Charles. That was nearly a full generation ago now, Alec.
As a fan of U.S. soccer, you would like to see progress across all age groups. And I'm not sure that if you're a fan of U.S. soccer, you've seen progress over the last few years. That's a reality. That's not. We're looking at results. We're not looking at whatever my opinion may be or may not be. The results tell you a story. Whatever I say, it's not all that significant, I suppose.
Colombia just looking to crown what has been an expert performance by them in many ways. We've got that relatively early breakthrough. They survived the catastrophe of an own goal and really never looked threatened from that point on, did they? Took command once again. 2 goals from Roger Martinez. And really, they could have had more. Side whose full national team seems to be regaining their mojo as Shelton gives chase. The last rites are being read here for the United States. Referee looking at his watch. Well, 4 years ago it was a nightmare in Nashville, and here tonight dreams have been dashed in Dallas. The United States have been left on the sidelines again. It's Colombia who will be the boys in Brazil this summer. And you have to say, Ali, it was thoroughly deserved over the 2 legs.
It was deserved by Colombia. It was a clinic on know-how, of experience, of having gone through experiences with their club team, of the growth of a player and the maturity of a player regardless of their age. Colombia today, next level above the United States.
The 16th and final spot at the 2016 Rio Olympics goes to Colombia. The US with a bitter taste of defeat again. We'll wrap things up from Frisco when we return.